Have you ever dreamt of a place for so long that it almost stops feeling real? For almost 10 years, ever since I first held a camera, I wanted to come here. I'd seen pictures, watched films, heard stories, but nothing could really prepare me. And then it happened. "18 days, 5,000 kilometers, 3 months of planning. Just me, 2 close friends, my wife, and our 18-month-old son. He's getting ready. We traveled the entire ring road, went deep into the Highlands, and found some of the breathtaking places that most people rarely explore. No words. Roads that seemed endless, moments that felt unreal, and every time we thought we had seen it all, Iceland showed us something new.
Unbelievable.
Velkomin til Ísland.
And this is where it all begins. Filling up the fuel before we leave. We'll be taking F208 and the weather looks nice. It's just drizzling a little bit with a lot of ticks. But yeah, so this road is usually open in the summers. But yeah, the drive will be nice. The road to Landmannalaugar is considered one of the most beautiful in the Icelandic Highlands because there are so many incredible places along the way. And just before we started driving on the Highland Road, we took our first stop. Right now we are going to go to the Haifoss, and again, as the name suggests, it's a high waterfall. And I'm not sure if you can hear the wind. It's really strong, and the wind gusts are almost 45 kilometers per hour. The weather was clear, but the wind was insane. Hard to even explain. But seeing Haifoss, it was just phenomenal. 122 meters of pure power dropping into this ancient canyon. The cliffs around it are nearly 2 million years old. Volcanic. You can feel Iceland's history just standing here. Pictures don't justify this view.
Wow.
Wow.
Just after we hit the gravel road, we took a small detour to Sigöldugljúfur Canyon. Most people call it the Valley of Tears. It's one of the Iceland's lesser known spots, and honestly, it felt surreal.
Quite mesmerizing. No words.
This place was drowned under a reservoir for decades, and then it came back. We wanted to stay longer, but the wind was relentless, so strong we could barely stand, so we decided to keep moving.
Just look at the mountains. Everywhere you see, it's just black color. Old dried up lava.
As we drove further, it literally felt we were driving on moon. Our next stop was Bláhylur. Honestly, this was the place I had seen so many pictures of, the one I really wanted to see in person. He wants to climb all the way up. It's a volcanic crater that filled with water over time and now have become a crater lake. When we arrived, there was no one, Blue Lake. The striking blue color of this lake is because of minerals like sulfur and silica, and it's just perfect. Black lava everywhere, peaks in the background covered with green moss. It just felt like another planet. As we left for Landmannalaugar, we took a quick stop at Stotor crater. This cone was formed from an eruption back in 1477. Just moss-covered peaks and pink volcanic ash around the crater's rim. And finally, we reached Landmannalaugar.
I think we are going to cross the river.
We took a little rest at the base camp and then decided to go for a quick hike together. He's getting ready. So let's see how far we can go with this little one. Are you ready? I have looked at pictures of these mountains for years. Always thought there is no way these colors are real. But honestly, they were. If anything, the photos don't do justice. It was almost too much to take in. You can see, these are the lava fields. The base camp is right on the edge of a lava field. After the short scenic hike, Kirti and Atharv headed back to base camp to rest. And we decided to go for the Bláhnjúkur hike, the Blue Peak. It's considered one of the best hikes in all of Iceland. It's more difficult than we thought. The Laugaroen lava field was created by an eruption in 1477, over 500 years ago, and it still looked fresh. We came all the way from there. Just a little bit. And finally, after 90 minutes, we reached the summit. You see all these colors in the mountains? These are because very hot lava, more than 700 degrees Celsius, just cooled and trapped all the gases inside. So these colors are a result of different gases. The views are stunning. The legs are not feeling great, but honestly, eyes can't get enough. When we reached the top, I don't even know how to describe it. It was overwhelming. Those rainbow mountains stretching out in every direction.
It's so peaceful and colorful.
What made them colorful was the rhyolite. Volcanic rock rich in silica. Iron creates the reds and pinks. Sulfur added the yellows. And minerals like silica brought out the greens and blues. All of this sits within the Þórsmörk volcanic complex, one of Iceland's largest volcanic systems. It's been active for about 1 million years and has erupted over 250 cubic kilometers of rhyolite. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around that scale. One thing about Iceland, the weather changes in seconds. No warning. We came down from the other side of the mountain and the views were amazing. Because of the rain, the slopes became muddy and challenging. Walking through the lava fields was different. Winding path, uneven surface, and sharp volcanic rocks. After an hour of descent, we finally made it back. Just reached the car. Really tired. Our accommodation was an hour away from the base camp, so we decided to head back. But we wanted to see one last spot. An explosion crater from the same massive eruption 500 years ago. Thank God we stopped. It was beyond this planet, the red crater walls, that deep blue lake 1.5 kilometers wide. It just felt surreal. From up there, we could also see Sigöldugljúfur in the distance, one of the most photogenic crater lakes in Iceland. The 1477 eruption, that was the final touch. It shaped this entire region into what we see today. And then we left for our accommodation, but we took the F225 road. This road doesn't open early in the season because of many river crossings, but we were lucky. And honestly, the drive was absolutely breathtaking. One of the most beautiful routes in all of Iceland. I would come back just for this road alone.
He just woke up.
So he's just calling the office, road.is, because on the website the last part of the road is still showing it's closed, and but sometimes they open the road, but they don't update the website, so finger crossed. Because we were early in the summer season, many of the deep highland roads were still closed, including F347, the road that takes you to the best spots in Kerlingarfjöll. This road is a small extension of the main highland road, F35. But when we called the road.is office, they told us the road had just opened that morning. So we got lucky. As we took F35 north, we stopped at Hvítárvatn, the White River Lake. The water is this surreal milky blue because it's fed by glaciers, carrying glacier floor, tiny rock particles that give it this magical color. It felt like we were standing at the edge of the world. As we headed back to F35, we could see the glacier in the backdrop. The F35 is only open from mid-June to September due to snow and extreme weather. And this road follows the historic Kjolur route, used since the Viking Age as a shortcut between northern and southern Iceland.
Good. Okay, let's go. Not alone with Mama. He wants to climb this.
After a few stops along the way, we arrived. How do you even explain somebody a place like this who has never been here?
Great job. Thank you.
We finally reached Hveradalir in Kerlingarfjöll, the most scenic hike in the region. The name means Old Lady Mountain, from a legend of a troll woman who was caught by daylight and turned into stone.
There's no words how to explain the view.
It's one of the most intense geothermal areas in all of Iceland.
Smells like rotten eggs.
So this is how Earth looks like. I mean, this unbelievable. You can see, like, the geothermal vents. The temperature can reach up to 80 degrees Celsius. For centuries, outlaws and bandits used these mountains as a hiding spot. The rough terrain and steam vents made it easy to disappear.
He wants to take some rocks home.
Until the 1930s, this place was basically unexplored. We spent almost 2 hours there, just taking it all in. I was able to get some great pictures, the ones that actually look as surreal as they felt. It was one of those experiences that truly shows the raw, untouched, wild side of Iceland. It was raining just 5 minutes back, and suddenly the sun showed up, and this is how unpredictable the weather is. As we were leaving, the sky cleared and sun came out. It was 10 in the night, but because of the midnight sun, it felt like morning. Golden, soft, unreal. We took a quick stop at Iceland's own horseshoe bend, just outside of Hveradalir. As we were heading back, dense fog rolled in and covered the whole region. Mystical, like the mountains were saying goodbye.
From morning, rainy condition, after that sunshine, and now foggy condition. 3 to 4 weather condition we have seen in one day.
And just like that, Kerlingarfjöll disappeared into the mist. We'll be leaving to the Laki crater soon. I'm very excited because usually the weather has to be perfect to see the whole craters, and I think we'll get a pretty nice view. So,
Ready to hit the road?
F206 is the Highland road that takes you to Laki. It's an unpaved, rugged mountain road. The F stands for Fatlavegur, which means mountain road. Only open from June to September, and even then, conditions are unpredictable. Even though it's just 60 kilometers from the ring road, it's a world of its own.
This landscape is totally amazing, so raw.
A high clearance 4x4 is required by law. Rough terrain, no fuel, no cell service, completely isolated. The biggest challenge? The river crossings. There is a big river crossing. We watched a few other vehicles cross first, just to gauge the depth, and then went for it. The drive took us about 2 hours for just 40 kilometers. And there it was, Laki. Just one car as far as the eyes could see. It was hard to put into words. This crater chain stretches for 25 kilometers. Over 130 craters formed from one of the most devastating eruptions in recorded history. So the weather has suddenly changed. The clouds have come down and it's really raining a lot. So right now we are just waiting for the weather to calm down, and we'll see if we can climb up and for the viewpoint just to see the craters from above.
So weather is not favorable today. We'll try this tomorrow morning and see.
After waiting for 2 hours, we finally decided to head back and come the next day. So we came again to the Laki crater early morning, and we have left Kirti and Atharv at home. But the weather looks amazing. The clouds are pretty high, and you can see it's clearing up as well. So yeah, we'll climb on the top and we'll see how it looks. Yeah, we have just reached the halfway through the hike. I mean, it's only 15-20 minutes from the car, but it's pretty steep. You can already see the craters coming from that line. Pretty amazing. So if we'll go up, we can see the other side of the mountain. After 45 minutes of steep hiking, we finally reached the viewpoint. And it was unbelievable. Like the earth had just torn itself apart. Most days clouds cover this view completely, but our patience paid off. From June 1783 to February 1784, this fissure erupted for 8 straight months. It released 120 million tons of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, enough to cool the entire northern hemisphere by over a degree. In Iceland alone, it killed more than half the livestock and a quarter of the population from the famine that followed. And still, you see, the country survived, the landscape is thriving, and you can see the green moss all over, vibrant again. Yeah, nature always finds its way to thrive in the most uninhabitable environments. But the effects reached far beyond Iceland. The toxic haze spread across Europe and Africa, causing crop failures and famines.
Yeah, I'm speechless.
It's hard to imagine what it must have been like back then. Standing there taking it all in, it was one of the most humbling experiences of our entire trip. Maelifell is the reason that almost 10 years ago, it became a dream to visit Iceland. I saw a picture of a beautiful green pyramid rising from black sands, and I knew I had to see it with my own eyes. It had rained all night, and when we started driving, the landscape felt different, alive, as if the planet was breathing. As the rain comes, all this moss, it starts shining again. It's all bright green, just like a painting. But again, you are not supposed to touch this moss because it takes almost 100 years to grow back. So there are several routes to Mælifell, and the F210 from the west is considered the most beautiful. But it was closed at that time. We took the F232, which gave us the incredible views of Mýrdalsjökull, Iceland's 4th largest glacier. The weather was perfect, and after spending an hour just appreciating the landscape, we moved on. And there it was, one of the most photographed river crossings in Iceland. Bláhylur. As we drove further, it didn't even feel like we were on Earth. Endless black surface and bright green moss. Some patches of moss glowed so intensely that it seemed the earth itself was coming alive. Driving over the glacial rivers was an experience which just cannot be described in words. And finally, after 3 hours of driving, we saw it. The image I had seen 10 years ago, it was surreal to see it come alive right in front of us. This perfect green cone rising from the black desert. Born 10,000 years ago beneath the ice of Mýrdalsjökull, this volcano erupted during the last ice age. As the glacier retreated, this 200-meter volcanic cone was revealed. Yeah, so we are just waiting for another car to pass because our car doesn't have a snorkel. With a river crossing, it's better not to take any chances. It's better if you can just watch some other car to pass who already have some experience because then you can be safe. We wanted to get closer to reach the base of the volcano, but the river was too deep to cross. So we decided to stay back.
He's just walking like little astronaut on moon.
But maybe that was how it was meant to be. This green pyramid in the distance, rising from that black sand, wild and untouched. It almost felt sacred. This extinct volcano is covered entirely in vibrant green moss that thrives in the volcanic soil. Mælifell means measuring hill. Early Icelandic settlers used it as a landmark to navigate across these desolate highlands. The view was so incredible that we just didn't want to leave. 10 years of waiting, and it exceeded every expectation. After spending a few hours there, we headed back to our accommodation, but to this day, those views are still fresh in our minds. So we are heading into Iceland's one of the most remote valleys, Thorsmork. Let's see how it goes. Thorsmork wasn't in our plan. We were so early in the season that we weren't sure if we should even attempt it. But we couldn't resist. It is also known as Thor's Valley. Surrounded by glaciers and carved by rivers, this remote valley is one of Iceland's most spectacular natural destinations. It involves making your way along the F249. As we drove further, we came across some breathtaking landscapes.
First river crossing of this route. Let's see how many more.
This tricky mountain road isn't easy to navigate due to several river crossings. And then we drove past Gígjökull, the outlet glacier tongue of Eyjafjallajökull. It was epic to see the glacier's mouth scarred with black volcanic ash. Thorsmork is so massive that a single day is just not enough. The river crossings, they are no joke. Deep, unpredictable, and they demand respect. Our plan was to visit Bláhnjúkur viewpoint to see the Valley of Thor from above. But to reach there, we had to cross the most dangerous river crossings in all of Iceland. Krossa. Yeah, so this is the mother of all rivers, the Krossa River, which has taken many cars. The river crossing doesn't seem very safe. When we reached there, the water levels were extremely high for the car we had. And it's the main reason Thorsmork stays so protected.
So how are we going to go that side? Because we can't cross the river, right?
That car is also trying to figure out the crossing.
We waited for an hour to see other cars navigate through the river and finally decided to just stay back and appreciate the place.
It's not worth putting this baby into the river.
Named after the Norse thunder god Thor, legend says this valley was formed when he struck the earth with his hammer. Surrounded by 3 massive glaciers, the valley has a unique microclimate, warmer and more sheltered than the rest of South Iceland. After 2 hours of waiting, we decided to return back. Some stories should be left unfinished, so you have a reason to come again. Thorsmork was our final chapter in the Highlands. After everything we had seen, it was humbling to realize we had barely scratched the surface. A few days will never be enough in these Highlands. But Iceland wasn't done with us yet.
Amazing. Wow, yaar.
From here only it looks insanely beautiful.
Our first stop in the south was Iceland's most beautiful waterfall, Skógafoss.
Let's go.
This is Iceland's most famous waterfall. That's why we went late in the evening, and it was perfect. Almost empty, just us and the falls.
I'm speechless. See the massive waterfall, the height, the water flowing down, and the sound. Amazing. Truly amazing.
This majestic powerhouse, over 60 meters tall, is fed by 2 massive glaciers and feels like the breath of Iceland. What's incredible is that these cliffs were once coastal cliffs. The ocean used to reach right here, but over time, the coastline retreated 5 kilometers inland, leaving behind these towering cliffs where Skógafoss now falls.
The views are just majestic. You like that? We can actually go on top of the waterfall to see from above. But yeah, the views are great from here as well. So we decided not to go for the trek.
From the base of Skógafoss, the legendary Fimmvörðuháls trail begins, climbing toward the highlands on its way to meet the famous Laugavegur route in Thorsmork. It's a journey that unfolds over several days through Iceland's wildest landscapes, making it the perfect reason to come back. After that, we drove to another iconic waterfall just 30 minutes from Skógafoss.
Getting him ready for the waterfall.
We are going to go there behind the waterfall.
It's another of the country's well-known 60-meter waterfalls. Yet, it was different.
Look at the caves behind the waterfall.
It is presumably one of the very few waterfalls in the world where you can walk behind it.
It just feels amazing to be here at the back of the waterfall and nobody is here. It's 11 p.m. in the night and the sun sets from right across there, but just because of the clouds we can't see. Nevertheless, the view is beautiful.
We were glad that we traveled late in night because Iceland isn't about checking boxes. It's about patience and having these moments to yourself. That's when it becomes to you.
So we have arrived in Vik, and this place is famous for its black sand beach, Reynisfjara. And yeah, we'll be heading there. As you can see the church from it.
Vik is Iceland's southernmost village. It's almost 2 hours from Selfoss, the biggest town in South Iceland. After having rest and supper, we headed to the famous black sand beach.
Atharv, look. Oh, black sand.
On the photos, we saw the picture of this beach and we saw those sea stacks. In the photos it looks small, but standing in real, it's really huge.
Reynisfjara is famous for its dramatic landscape. Endless black sand beach, crashing waves, and giant sea stacks rising from the ocean.
So a lot of Icelandic people, they believe in trolls.
And one of the story goes that there were 2 trolls
Who were trying to dock the ship on this beach, but they were not able to do before the sunrise, and that's why they turned into stone forever. So these giant sea stacks, they represent those trolls which were frozen in time.
Reynisfjara's iconic black sand isn't sand in a traditional sense. It's actually eroded volcanic rock that was created when molten lava from nearby Katla volcano flowed into the ice-cold Atlantic Ocean. This lava cooled instantly and shattered into the fine black fragments that you see today. Reynisfjara is one of the most dangerous beaches in the world. With no landmass between this coast and Antarctica, waves gather power over thousands of miles, and long swells born from the distant North Atlantic storms slam into the steep shore without warning, sending sudden sneaker waves far up the black sand. Countless films have been shot here. The geometric basalt formations, the dramatic offshore rocks. It feels like stepping into a film set.
नहीं बॉटल तो मैं यहाँ लगाऊंगा.
So we have left Kirti and Atharv at Airbnb, and it's already 1 a.m. in the morning, and there is nobody here. A little bit drizzle, so we are going to start the walk to the plane wreck.
Our last part of the day was the Solheima Sandur plane wreck. Walking to the plane wreck is different, flat but exposed. We walked for 4 kilometers, and after about an hour, we saw it.
Yeah, it was a good walk. 4 kilometers, just reached. Nobody is here, and yeah, the views are amazing. Yeah.
When we arrived, there was no one around, just us. The skeletal remains of a US Navy DC-3 sitting here since 1973 in the endless black sands. It was surreal to watch. This wasn't a dramatic crash. All 7 crew members survived. They were rescued, and a plane, they just left it here. The midnight sun does something to you. Days blur into nights, and you find yourself exploring at hours that don't make sense.
He's so excited for the sunny day. You see that lighthouse?
Our day began at Derole. The weather had completely changed from the night before. It was sunny, calm, beautiful, entirely different from the dramatic black sand and crashing waves at Reynisfjara.
This is the nesting season, so you can see a lot of birds on the cliff.
Derole means Dorhill Island, named after the huge natural rock arch carved through it by the ocean. The arch is so big that boats can pass through it, and in 1993, a pilot even flew a small plane through the opening.
Yeah. So this cliff is pretty amazing because on this side, that side, you can see the whole Reynisfjara beach, and on this side, like in the other half of the black sand beach, the views look amazing.
The entire south coast stretched out in both directions. It was phenomenal. Derole is also a nature reserve for Atlantic puffins. From mid-May through August, thousands of them nest in the cliffs. We were looking for one, and then we saw them.
See puffin! He wants to go and hold the puffin.
Watching them was mesmerizing. They are so small, so vibrant against the dark cliffs. It's hard not to smile when you see them.
It's amazing to see.
I love puffin.
The drive from Vik to Vatnajökull Glacier Lagoon is full of breathtaking viewpoints. As we headed for the east, we took a stop at another one of the Iceland's iconic locations. Hvítárvatn. The name means Feather River Canyon, and standing at the edge, looking down at the winding ribbon of water snaking through moss-covered walls, you understand why.
I want to go down and look it from close. It looks massive.
The canyon is about 2 kilometers long and 100 meters deep, carved over thousands of years by glacial meltwater. Its formation dates back to the end of the last ice age. From above, it looks like a dragon's spine. Walking along the canyon, it felt like walking through a fantasy landscape. After about an hour exploring the canyon, we got back on the ring road and continued east. As we drove, the landscape shifted, and there it was, rising dramatically from the plains ahead. Bláhnjúkur. Over 760 meters tall, this mountain is a breathtaking giant on the south coast, known for being one of the most recognizable mountains in Iceland.
Look at the clouds covering mountains so beautifully.
In Norse mythology, this colossal rock is said to be the guardian of the southern coast. The landscapes in Iceland are so stunning that you lose track of time. Every view pulls you over, and suddenly you are hours behind. After spending 40 minutes there, we continued our journey further east, and just 15 minutes later, we drove past Skógafoss Seljalandsfoss, the largest glacial outwash plain in the world. Covering 1300 square kilometers, it's a desolate expanse of black sand and gravel. In 1996, a volcanic eruption melted 3.8 cubic kilometer of ice in hours and caused a massive glacial flood that reshaped the coast. Driving across it felt unreal. And then we took our last stop of the day.
Let's see how the glacier looks. It was not cold, but I think close to glacier you already start to feel the chill.
We had never seen a glacier up close before, so we were very excited.
God, this is unbelievable. I didn't expect it to be like this.
This is amazingly beautiful. Can't describe.
There are moments you don't forget, and for us, this was one. And even now, it gives me goosebumps. Extending about 10 kilometers long and 800 meters wide, it is one of about 30 outlet glaciers flowing from Vatnajökull, Europe's largest ice cap.
Can you imagine I'm holding a million-year-old ice?
You can see the tiny particles of the volcanic ash trapped inside the ice.
This glacier was used to film Dr. Mann's Ice Planet in Christopher Nolan's 2014 film Interstellar. The colors were incredible. Bright blue ice against black volcanic rock. It was surreal. Like all glaciers in Iceland, this one is also shrinking. Since 1930, it has already receded more than 1.5 kilometers. So I guess where we are standing right now, there was almost 100 meters of ice once. As we were flying the drone up above, we saw the crevices, and it can go 30 meters deep suddenly, and it's really dangerous to walk alone on these glaciers. And that's why, there are guided tours. So tomorrow we will be going to one. There is so much to see in this little part of Iceland that a single day is not enough. As we finally reached our accommodation, we were excited for the next day. Yeah, we just woke up a few minutes ago, and it's 6:30 a.m. in the morning, and we are going for a glacier walk. Kirti and Atharv are sleeping. As you can see, it's early morning, but it doesn't feel like early morning. But the best part is the skies are clear and no rain, so perfect weather you can expect in Iceland. So let's get going.
Nice to meet you. I'm awesome.
Nice to meet you guys.
What's up?
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, so before we start heading out, I just want to gear you up first and get you a pair of shoes. Yeah. So I see you have mostly hiking shoes. We want to get some little bit stiffer.
Yeah.
So it's rigid and it's easier to kick in the wall as you climb in.
Oh.
I don't know who of you will try climbing, but I think it would be nice if each of you at least try once.
Yeah.
To ice climbs just to get experience, and then whoever wants to try more, then we just do more, I guess, and try to pick up maybe 2 different spots. And you have a little bit of space in the front.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you each of you one ice axe. It just helps with walking and moving through the more technical parts of the glacier. And this is not the ice axe we're gonna be using while ice climbing. It's very different, but you're gonna see it a little bit later. It's just more aggressive. This one is just more straight and helps with walking. Yeah, pretty much it.
As our guide briefed us with safety instructions, we were super thrilled to do this. We had never seen a glacier before, let alone walk or climb on it.
Just to kind of guide you a little bit where we're going. So that's map of Bláhnjúkur, so our largest ice cap, not only in Iceland but also the largest ice cap in Europe. On top of this mountain, you see the tallest peak, which is right up there. And we're gonna go to one of the outlets of Reykjavik, which is just somewhere here. It's not a very detailed map, so you can't see all the outlets. It's actually 40 of those coming down the mountain. And one of those we're gonna go to, it's called Hvítárvatn. And you can see to your left, that's the glacier we're going to. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, yeah. It's super nice. And maybe when you look at it, it really explains the name, why it's called Falling Glacier, because it's really steep.
Covering about 8% of Iceland, this massive ice cap stretches over 8,100 square kilometers. The name means glacier of lakes, and beneath all that ice lie several active volcanoes. After 20 minutes of driving across the black sand, we finally reached. And if you look at it, it's actually hard ice.
Let's find some nice and flat spots so we can put our crampons on. And welcome on Bláhnjúkur. Yeah, these are ashes mixed with some rocks, and a lot of it comes from the eruption of the tallest mountain. So take a piece of ice that contains some ashes, and by measuring amount of carbon dioxide, CO2, you can tell how old the ice is.
Walking on the glacier was surreal. The glacier stretched endlessly in every direction. After an hour of walking across the ice, navigating around crevasses, we found our first wall.
So yeah, we are getting ready for the ice climb. He's setting up an anchor. Yeah, pretty excited. This is the first time trying the ice climbing.
After we learned some basic techniques, it was time to finally do it.
I really know how your experience feels. The pain. Best experience. Wasn't easy as it looks.
It's pretty exhausting, but it's worth the pain.
So you would take your practice on ice here, and that's where you would begin. You know, setting up anchor, having top row, doing safe way, practice as much as you can. And when you start to feel like, okay, I need something a little more, something more challenging, then you will, in the wintertime, go out there. Find some canyons where there are waterfalls that freeze.
Even though it wasn't winter, we still found a perfect spot.
Beautiful.
A massive 40-meter deep moorland. A vertical shaft carved by meltwater plunging through the glacier.
And so there's nothing like we're gonna go into the edge without being clipped to the rope and to the anchor.
First, it's scary, but when you get the confidence, yeah, it's fun. It's really fun.
Fresh.
Some experiences don't need words. As we headed back, we felt grateful to have experienced something few people ever do.
Awesome, thank you guys. It was a pleasure. Bye.
So he couldn't go. Now we'll take him to the lagoon, right? Yeah. See.
Our next stop was Iceland's famous glacier lagoon, Jökulsárlón. Sitting there, gazing at massive icebergs floating silently across the water, it was mesmerizing. Jökulsárlón is Iceland's steepest lake, almost 284 meters, more than the height of Eiffel Tower. Some of these icebergs are several stories tall underwater, made of ice over 1,000 years old.
It's amazing. I don't want to actually go from here, but I think no words, just feelings.
The colors in the icebergs were incredible. When we visited, it was the peak nesting season. Being one of the Iceland's most famous attractions, Jökulsárlón sees thousands of visitors. Boat tours run all day, taking people close to the glacier. While this is Iceland's most famous lagoon, there was another spot that offered us a more intimate experience.
Welcome guys, come on in.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, welcome. So I'm Philippe, I'm the team leader of Fjellsárlón. And today we're going on a boat tour at the, to meet Fjellsjökull Glacier. And we're going to start getting sorted, dressed and all.
Are you ready? He is. He woke up, at the right time for his boat tour.
The glaciers are working like bulldozers, so they push, and they push. And that's how these moraines that we're walking through were created.
Oh my God. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Pretty, huh? So yeah, that's where we're going. My colleague over here is keeping the shore open for us because the icebergs move. Welcome to Fjallsárlón. We're going to be sailing towards that glacier that it's sitting dramatically in the clouds.
Being out there in the Zodiac, cruising through the icebergs, it felt magical. The water was calm, almost glass-like. No crowds, no noise, just us.
One of the things that is very interesting about glacier lagoons, and we get this question a lot, is why the water looks so brown, so dark. The water is good, the water is fresh, it's sweet, it comes from the glacier only, so it's melted water from that glacier. The reality is though that glaciers like that are moving, and they're moving fast even if we cannot tell, and as they move they scratch the ground, they pick up stuff. All the stuff that a glacier picks up is actually inside of the icebergs. Some icebergs don't have much minerals in it, at least we cannot see it, but some of them right over there, if you look ahead, there is so much sediment in this iceberg. We have dirt, we have sand, we have volcanic ash, we have stones, we have pebbles, we can have boulders inside of an iceberg. Everything that is inside of the ice has been picked up by the glacier once upon a time, and that's why icebergs in general, we have to think of them as little time capsules.
The landscape here has completely changed.
If you could actually split an iceberg like a stick, the outer layer of an iceberg will be white thanks to the bubbles and the layer of oxygen, but the core will remain bluer because it's denser and less oxygen inside, which is what's happening over here in that cave.
See how beautiful it is?
We are going to start approaching the largest iceberg we have in the lagoon these days. You can see it over there ahead, just ahead. It is still showing you just 10% of its body. So if you make the mental exercise to actually imagine how much is under the water, those 90% that we spoke about, you can get a pretty good idea of how big that iceberg is. It is also, as it happens to be, standing in one of the deepest parts of the lagoon. So that iceberg is really much larger than it looks.
Such a massive block of ice floating in the water. Unbelievable.
As we approached the glacier wall, it just kept getting bigger. You don't truly understand the size until you're right beneath it.
We are facing the front wall of Fjallsjökull Glacier, one of the many outlets of the system called Vatnajökull. But Vatnajökull is one of a kind because actually of its volcanic activity. But under this fantastic glacier system that we have in front, there's 7 active volcanoes hiding under. So Vatnajökull is one of a kind because of the power that it has. 7 active volcanoes with this much ice is not something that you find anywhere else in the world. So, this is an iceberg, yeah? It's a pretty big one, you can obviously touch it, yeah? You can hold it if you like, guys. It's a bit heavy, but please be my guest if you want. Bam!
So heavy.
It's not the typical iceberg from your fridge, yeah? Sorry, it's not the typical ice cube from your fridge. This ice, glacier ice, has been under the compression of that glacier for centuries, perhaps even more. So this will melt actually much slower than a typical ice cube from your fridge.
Yeah.
You can tell though, if you look inside, you see the minerals inside there.
Yeah.
The same minerals we were just looking at over there. These minerals were picked by the glacier and they're intact inside. So the information those mineral holds are intact. The same goes for the bubbles that are inside of the ice as well. Those bubbles, for example, they can hold the same toxicity of the air back in the time they were trapped in the ice. So that's the way, we can look back in time. This is a very pretty one, no?
There is holes.
Yeah, there is holes, there's bubbles, minerals.
There's bubbles.
Yeah.
Not holes, sorry, bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at these ones. These are like opaque.
As we headed back, our hearts were full. These last few days being so close to glaciers, it changed something. The raw power, the sheer scale of it, it was humbling. You realize how small we are against forces like this, yet standing there, you feel more alive than ever. Even though this was our last day at the south coast, it was extraordinary. We had one last stop before leaving. Retha Mercur Santo, also known as Diamond Beach. It was late at night, very cold, but it was stunning. Icebergs from Jökulsárlón had washed up on the black sand, scattered across the beach like glistering diamonds. The contrast, the white and blue ice against the black sand, the waves crashing around them, was beautiful. Even though we couldn't stay longer because of cold, it was the perfect end to the south.
This was our last stop in South Coast. It was beautiful. I wish we would have stayed one more night, but again, it's time to go. So we'll be heading to east. We'll take few stops. It's a long journey, around 5 hours, I guess. But yeah, we'll come back.
Unlike the south coast, driving to the east felt different. Charming fishing villages, dramatic fjords, and remote beauty. Our first stop on this route was Vesterhorn.
This is also called Batman Mountain, and this is the very few places in Iceland which is extremely old.
These mountains are over 8 million years old, older than almost anything else in Iceland. It is one of the very few places in Iceland where the land, sea, and sky all clash so dramatically. Unlike most Icelandic mountains, which are primarily made of basalt, Vesterhorn is composed mainly of gabbro and granophyre, dark volcanic rocks rich in iron and magnesium. These rocks were formed from slowly cooled magma deep underground more than 8 million years ago, contributing to the mountain's striking dark appearance.
Since morning, it was all covered in cloud, and most of the time it is because it's very close to the sea. But we came in the late evening and you could see the entire mountain just cleared up, and beautiful sight, beautiful. And you can see all these big sand dunes with little grass. I mean, very few places you will find something like this.
This area has a long history with evidence of one of Iceland's first Viking settlements, dating back to the 9th century. During World War II, it became a British military base and later a NATO radar station. As we headed back further east, we took another stop at one of the iconic locations in East Fjords, just 45 minutes from Vesterhorn. This bright orange lighthouse, built in 1954, stands on a small peninsula overlooking the Atlantic. It was constructed to guide ships through one of the Iceland's most perilous coastlines. Behind the lighthouse, the jagged peaks of Estrahon mountain rise sharply. Vestrahorn and Estrahorn are both part of the Krossanesfjall mountain range, an ancient extinct volcanic system dating back over 8 million years. The contrast, the orange lighthouse, the black sand beach, and the dark mountains, it was striking. We didn't stay long, but it was one of those quick stops that just stays with you. Driving the East Coast felt different. Emptier, quieter, like you're on the edge of something vast and untouched. After a few more hours of driving, we crossed the Fjarðarheiði Pass. To reach Seyðisfjörður, there is only one road, Route 93 through this mountain pass. The climb started right after a small town of Egilsstaðir, and within minutes, we were at 600 meters. This is where East Iceland really reveals itself. You climb into fog, clouds, and near zero visibility, and then suddenly you descend and the entire world changes.
What an amazing valley. After so long, I'm seeing all the colors green at the top of the mountain. Feels really green.
Finally, after a whole day of driving, we reached Seyðisfjörður.
This valley looks beautiful. We arrived here yesterday and now we were very tired, but now we are going to take a look around. I see a beautiful church. I was seeing it from my room's window.
This town is beautiful. I mean, we have seen this church in pictures. Couldn't come in the night, but glad we came in this morning.
Seyðisfjörður is a small famous village of East Fjords, known for its colorful houses, blue church, scenic beauty, and cultural charm.
Wow! It feels amazing walking down here. Beautiful.
And this is actually the place where if you're traveling to Faroe Islands, coming from Denmark or Norway, this is a major stop for all the ferries and the major cruises.
In 1906, the first telegraph cable connecting Iceland to Europe made landfall right here, making this town Iceland's gateway to the world. We were driving from Seyðisfjörður to northern part of Iceland to Akureyri, and this is, I don't know how to explain this, very few cars. The landscape changed so dramatically from the snow peaks to now just barren mountains, it just feels like a different planet. One of the best drives, and just 5 minutes ago it was raining like anything, and suddenly the weather changed. Now a lot of wind as well right now. I guess this part of Iceland is very less explored.
It was a long drive. We took a small stop here. I guess this is the only gas station for, I don't know, almost 100 kilometers. So we are just stopping to take a break or have some snack.
You want my box? Journey is so long, so we are having a quick snack. It looks delicious.
The drive from east to Akureyri was a long journey, but we passed through some of the Iceland's most dramatic and diverse landscapes.
We are going for Ljótipollur. It's a 1 kilometer hike, easy hike, and we are on the western side. The weather looks beautiful.
Look, can you see the rainbow?
Ljótipollur was beyond anything we had pictured in our minds. The sheer power was overwhelming. You could hear the roar from the parking lot, and as we got closer, the ground literally shook beneath us. The water looks grey because it's full of sediment, glacial melt carrying rock, silt, and minerals that the glacier has scrapped from the ground on its journey. This river has carved the massive Jökullaugajökull canyon over thousands of years through sheer erosive power. Standing there, feeling the spray, hearing the thunder, it was just magical.
We'll need to give you a life vest. Okay, welcome on board.
Excited to see the whales. Let's see.
The north of Iceland feels different. The fjords here stretch deep inland, bringing cold, nutrient-rich waters that attract some of the ocean's most magnificent creatures.
I'm very excited.
So this is the longest fjord in Iceland, Eyjafjörður. We have actually sailed it's about half that we have covered ourselves, and we've been scouting for whales.
Eyjafjörður has calm and sheltered waters that provide a year-round feeding ground for humpback whales. And just 30 minutes into the fjord, we spotted our first whale. As we continued scouting, scanning the horizon, suddenly we were surrounded by a large pod of humpback whales. I had seen whales before, but never like this. Never this many in one place.
We are passing. You just ideally stop the boat, get in the middle, and wait for them to give us the show.
And just when we thought the show was over, they gave us something unforgettable.
And I think it worked out as well today. It was really wonderful. We got to see them for really up close, a lot of tails, and I hope that people will get as lucky as we did today.
After the amazing experience, we headed to the famous Mælifell nature baths. Often called as the Blue Lagoon of the North, it's a natural geothermal spa tucked into the volcanic landscape.
After so many days of traveling, it feels so refreshing. This water feels so nice at the moment. So good.
We had been driving for days, truly overwhelmed by whatever we had seen, and sitting in that warm water, surrounded by steam and silence. It was refreshing, just being there.
Nice, and it feels amazing.
Exploring the north feels like wandering through a world that is still being created. Raw, different, quiet. Before heading to Hverir, which is the highlight of the north, we took a quick stop at Kraflaviti crater.
So I guess the best part of traveling late evenings is you can have the places all by yourself in Iceland, especially in summers.
This 300-meter wide explosion crater was filled with a striking blue-green geothermal lake.
Krafla is part of the North Volcanic Zone of Iceland and sitting directly on the mid-Atlantic ridge, and this is the place where Eurasian and the North American tectonic plates pulling apart. We'll try to explore as much as we can during this golden hour. I love this light.
Feels like I'm walking towards Mars.
I'll never forget the first time we saw Hverir. Even from the parking lot, we could see it, steam billowing from the earth. The ground stained in colors that didn't seem natural. It looked like the planet had cracked open and was showing us what lay beneath.
I can smell the sulfur already.
As we walked closer, the smell hit us. That rotten egg scent from hydrogen sulfide gas escaping through the fumaroles. But everything was just surreal, like we had driven into another dimension.
It feels like I'm in Wonderland, which is steaming and bubbling.
It doesn't even feel like Earth standing here. It's boiling hot, and I think like there was a board also that don't step over the fence, and they have put a fence because it really gets hot. And sometimes it gets over 200 degrees Celsius, which is quite dangerous.
Hverir sits at the foot of Naumafjall mountain, part of Krafla volcanic system. Just 1,000 meters below the surface, the temperature reaches over 200 degrees Celsius. The water underground boils, mixes with sulfuric acid and minerals, and then erupts back to the surface as steam and bubbling mud. NASA used Hverir as a training ground for astronauts preparing for Mars missions. Standing there, we completely understood why. This wasn't Iceland anymore. This was what another planet must feel like. Hostile, alien, raw.
I might cry later. Beautiful. Beautiful.
After Hverir, we left for Skógafoss. It was already past midnight.
The time is 1:30 in the morning, and look at the sky.
The sun had just dipped below the horizon after sunset, but the colors in the sky, they were beyond words. Pinks, purples, golds, all blending into each other in this endless twilight.
This is Iceland.
Along the way, we passed Lake Mælifell. This shallow lake, formed by a volcanic eruption over 2000 years ago, is one of the most important wetlands in Europe. We then drove past a massive, perfectly symmetrical volcanic crater rising from the landscape. Kerlingarfjöll. Almost 3000 years old, this black ash cone is one of the best preserved tephra craters in the world. Even from the road, its sheer size was just phenomenal. And finally, when we reached Skógafoss, we witnessed the sunrise. In just a span of 2 hours, we had seen sunset and sunrise.
It's unbelievable. It's actually almost 2:30 in the morning and we are seeing the sunrise. And just because of the sunrise, you can see the Atharv on the waterfall.
This waterfall of the gods is fed by a glacial river, and the name comes from a powerful moment in Iceland's history. In the year 1000 AD, when Iceland converted into Christianity, the lawspeaker Thorgeir threw his pagan idols into this waterfall, symbolizing the nation's farewell to Norse gods.
Can you see? There is a whole rainbow coming from this side and it's ending in the waterfall.
I think I can die in peace now. I have seen everything. I've seen everything.
That night was something words will never capture. Some moments you just carry with you forever. While driving to northwestern Iceland, we took our first stop. Kirti, Iceland's oldest turf church. This tiny structure, with parts dating back to 17th century, sits like a jewel in the landscape.
It's beautiful. It's smaller than I thought.
Only 6 meters long and 3 meters wide, covered in turf with beautiful Baroque wood carvings. It was just amazing to see it in person. And finally, when we reached our accommodation, it was just amazing.
This place is beautiful.
The place where we stayed was a big horse breeding farm. Endless horizon, mountains in the distance. It was just breathtaking.
Yeah, you see the horses up there? So we'll try to find some nice shots.
My name is Jón Árni. I'm a horse and a sheep farmer here in Stennes. You can see my horses are there by the riverside. Raising a horse is not an easy job in Iceland because, of course, in the winters can be cold, so we have to get a lot of hay, good, strong, protein-rich hay. And the Icelandic horse, he has to stay outside mostly all winter. Only the horses that we are in training that come inside. The Icelandic horse has the ability in the winter to get very fluffy. Their hairs are maybe somewhere around 10 to 15 centimeters long, so they basically never get cold if they don't get wet.
Filming Icelandic horses running across endless plains had been on my bucket list for years, and it finally happened. Their wild manes, the light, the landscape, it was just perfect.
I grew up on this farm, and just since I could walk, I wanted to be, with the horses, with the sheep, working on the farm. So I cannot imagine any other life.
We were so overwhelmed by the scenery that we stayed up almost all night. This place wasn't even our must-see list, but it became one of our favorite memories.
I love this farm life.
So we are at Hvítárvatn, and it's a short walk. It's a beautiful day. I don't know how to describe, but I guess every part of Iceland has a different view. It surprises you every time. Ready to go? Yeah. I hope. He's ready to go.
Hvítárvatn was our last stop in northern Iceland. This towering basalt rock, shaped by 12 million years of erosion, looked like something out of a myth. According to legend, this was once a troll who hated the sound of church bells and was turned to stone by the rising sun while trying to destroy it. The black sand, the endless ocean. It felt mythical. And finally, it was time for us to drive to Vestfjords.
So now we are at the remotest part of Iceland, the Vestfjords, and The drive was simply amazing. It was a long drive, almost 4 hours. And we just checked into our cabin a couple of hours back, had a rest. And now we are ready to leave. We'll be going to Latrabag cliffs to see the puffins. Very excited, especially Atharv. He's excited to see more puffins. So let's go.
The drive to Latrabag was a journey into remoteness. Hours of winding roads, steep mountain passes, and finally gravel roads, leading to the westernmost point of Iceland. These cliffs stretch 14 kilometers along the coast and rise up to 400 meters above the crashing ocean. But we were here for one reason: the puffins. Seeing them up close was surreal. Just meters away from us, completely unbothered by our presence.
I feel like I'm in paradise.
Atlantic puffins nest here between May and September, raising their chicks on these steep cliffs. Puffins mate for life. Once they find their partner, they stay together. Every year they return to the same exact burrow to raise a single chick before going their separate way back to sea.
No words.
It's unbelievable view. So many puffins everywhere. Best day of my life.
Latrabag hosts millions of seabirds during nesting season and is one of the biggest bird cliffs in Europe. We stayed for hours, fighting the wind, watching the puffins. As we were heading back, the sun poked through the clouds. It was late at night, but the sun was still there, touching the horizon and spilling the golden light across the West Fjords.
So it's almost midnight and we came to see the Golden Beach in the West Fjords of Iceland. And this is one of the most secluded places here. We didn't see any car when we were coming here. And it's interesting because when we were driving through these mountains, behind it, we could see the sun. But right when we were on top of the mountain, it's all covered with clouds, you can see. And when we are here, there is no sun. It just feels like it's going to be dark soon. So this is Iceland. You never know, what lies behind any mountain, and every view is different. It's amazing. And we have seen this church and the pictures. We didn't know, this was here, but it's beautiful.
The West Fjords are too vast to explore in just a few days. We didn't have much time, but there was one place we couldn't miss. It was late at night, so we left Kirti and Atharv at the accommodation and set out to see it. The drive took us deeper into the fjords, and when we finally arrived, we understood why they call it the Jewel of Westfjords. Cascading 100 meters down the mountainside in a series of 7 waterfalls, it looked like a massive bridal veil frozen in time. West Iceland is often called Iceland in miniature and offers everything in one compact region. Dramatic fjords, volcanic landscapes, and rich history. We headed to the Snæfellsnes Peninsula, staying near the iconic Kirkjufell mountain. It is Iceland's most photographed mountain, rising 463 meters with its distinctive arrow-shaped head. After resting for a few hours, we headed out to explore the peninsula.
It's beautiful. This is Buda Kirka. I hope I pronounced it right.
This church is painted entirely in black pitch to protect it from the harsh Icelandic weather, making it stand out against the dramatic landscape.
Excited to see some seals.
Íþritunga is unlike Iceland's typical black sand beaches. Harbor seals lounged on the rocks just offshore, completely unbothered by our presence. This is one of the best seal watching spots in Iceland, especially at low tide. We were amazed to see them up close.
First time I saw seals just like a few feet away from me. It was exciting.
As we were heading back to our cabin, we passed through Arnarstapi. It is a beautiful small fishing village in Snæfellsnes Peninsula. In the famous book of Jules Verne's A Journey to the Center of the Earth, it is the final stop for the protagonists before they climb the Snæfellsnes Glacier to enter the Earth's core.
Just look at it. It's a bird's paradise. It's amazing. I've never seen something like this.
The area was alive with seabirds late into the night. We had gotten so used to traveling late at night. It's addictive when you get to experience the landscapes just by yourselves. As we headed back, there was one last thing on our bucket list: taking the picture of Kirti during sunrise.
It's 1:41 a.m. in the morning. As you can see, the golden hour still there. So the sun will rise soon, but it's amazing.
Finally, we were able to take the picture. It was the perfect end to the west. Reykjavik and the Golden Circle was the last leg of this epic journey. It felt different to finally see crowds.
It looks so amazing. It looks like Earth is breathing.
Even though we had been traveling for almost 18 days, it felt like time had flown. Iceland had exceeded every single expectation. We had crossed an entire country and it had changed us. One of the key highlights of Iceland is to see a volcanic eruption, but there was none when we were there. So we left. But just after 10 days reaching back home, we heard the news.
Well, just an explosive morning in Iceland as a volcano erupted in the southwest part of the country. Here's video from this outbreak near Iceland's capital.
I desperately wanted to see the one thing that defines Iceland more than anything else. I couldn't let it go. So I flew back alone just to witness it. So this is kind of unexpected. So during our 18 days trip, we were hoping that this would happen, but it didn't. And as soon as we reached home, 2 weeks later, the news broke. And yeah, tough decision to come back again. This is unbelievable. I don't know how to explain this. This is Iceland. Let's see how it looks from above. This eruption in Iceland was the 9th in the Sunnúkur crater row on the Reykjanes Peninsula. After 800 years of dormancy, the peninsula woke up in 2021, and now it erupts every few months. This is the raw primal force that built this entire island. The Reykjanes Peninsula is one of the few places on Earth that sits between two tectonic plates. The North American and Eurasian plates pulling apart at about 2 centimeters per year. This is the reason why Iceland exists and is so volcanically active. I reached in the night just to see the red glow of the lava, and you can see the whole caldera is covered with the lava. It's not visible, but underneath you can see it's red hot, so it's pretty dangerous. Standing there and watching the earth tear itself open, it was something that cannot be described in words. It was so humbling to see the power and the sheer force of creation happening right in front of me. It had made everything else I had seen feel small. My return flight was late night, so I decided to explore the less known F228 Highland Road that morning. Most tourists have never heard of it, but it took me to some of the best hidden places in the Highlands.
So finally, I reached this lake.
Finding this lake wasn't easy. No clear path, no markings, just rough tracks cutting through the volcanic desert.
It's middle of the day, but nobody is here. And this is a very less known part of Highlands.
The size of this lake was staggering. The kind of massive you can't comprehend until you're standing right there. The Tungna River flows directly into it. And where Glacial River meets Crater Lake, the colors collide. Milky turquoise from glacial melt swirling into the deep green of the crater water. It was otherworldly. As I drove further down the road, the views just kept getting better. It felt like Iceland was showing off its true wilderness, revealing what it had been hiding all along. Not a single person, not a sound except the wind. This is what remoteness feels like. True isolation. The kind you cannot find on any ring road or crowded waterfalls. And finally, this epic, unforgettable, once-in-a-lifetime road trip came to an end.
Mm.